tiny screen.
Aye. Very good evening. It's Thursday evening. It's just gone 6 p.m. and you're listening to and watching the Football Pitch live on YouTube with myself, Cameron McDonald, Dennis Newell, and special guest, talk about Scotland. We've got Cockney, Andy Burrows. But no, we will talk other things as well. We'll look ahead to the Champions League next week, which Burrows' Spurs are featuring in. Obviously, we'll take a look at the weekend fixtures coming up. And the first thing I'm going to do is ask Andy Burrows, how's the liver, mate?
Oh, my God. Yeah. Bad. Spending a weekend with you guys. I was surrounded by Scottish people this past weekend.
Yep.
We met some great Scottish people out there, Nicole and Stephen and all her family. It was my liver's gone and I've got to do it all again tomorrow night. Probably I've had some good weekends in my life. Spain for me is in the top 3 weekends that I've ever had, just purely from a social aspect of people from like all over Europe, whether it's England, Scotland, Ireland, Germany, Norway, people coming together for the NFL game that me and you attended for our team, the Washington Commanders. That is up there with one of the best weekends I've ever had. But my liver, no, it's gone. I might need a new one, Cammy.
I've got to say, mate, it was a tremendous weekend, you know. And as you say, the one thing you forgot to mention, the amount of Americans who took over Madrid as well. You know, I mean, obviously, your good friend Jesse, you know, but so many other folk as well. I mean, obviously, I did the hospitality, and so many Americans was in there as well, you know. So, mate, what a fantastic weekend. The result messed it up a wee bit, but hey, we were probably expecting nothing less. And as I say, Dennis, if you've ever watched a game of football where both teams are conspiring to lose, that's pretty much what Andy Burrows and I watched in conjunction with 70,000 other NFL fans. That's what we watched at the weekend there. Yeah. You obviously did the podcast.
Good time of it in Madrid.
Oh, mate, honestly, what a fantastic weekend. As I say, I met so many great guys when I was over in Washington. Burrows has done that regularly, but last September was my first one. But so many great guys I met over there. A few of them came over as well, you know, and just an absolutely fantastic weekend. And yeah, I've got to say, my liver's much the same state as Burrows is as well, you know.
Yeah.
So
everyone asked you what Madrid was like, and I said I don't know. I saw the Burnabout and a pub.
Yeah,
and apparently Madrid's really nice. Yeah, apparently Madrid's really nice. I don't know.
Yeah. The one thing I will say about Madrid, it did its best to make us feel at home on Saturday, you know, because it pissed down all afternoon, you know. For the minute we get off the plane to basically the minute I got back to the hotel room on Sunday morning, it chucked it down. And I mean, I think we all got soaked standing outside pubs, and I mean, there was mile-long queues, Dennis, to get into Boozers. You know, that's how, you know, it was almost just looked like St. Enoch Square or, you know, St. George's Square or, you know, Glasgow Cross, whatever you want to say. You know, just so many folks standing outside pubs waiting to get in. But no, tremendous weekend. You obviously did
the weather with you,
Dennis.
Yeah, it went well last week. I did look up the weather forecast before we come on, and I said Cammy's taking the weather with him to Madrid because it said showers, but not at the level you're talking about.
Oh, mate, honestly.
I mean, you know, you've obviously had a good time, and the weather is no relevant when it's like that. So, yeah, it's good. I'm sure
it was dry for the game on Sunday, although they did close the roof. But our kicker would have been as well. Never mind anyway. You know what I mean? You go to a game of football and you can't get a guy that can kick the ball, but never mind. That is what it
is. Well, we've got that in soccer, if you want to change the name.
Yeah.
You're not far away. Yes. Onwards and upwards in relation to when's the next game that you're going to?
It's going to be September, isn't it? It's going to be the home opener again next season.
Long way away.
Yeah, the playoffs was going to be my next one, but that ain't happening. So yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm hoping to go to the draft with Scott. next year, me and Scott are probably going to go to the draft. But yeah, game wise, seeing Washington, yeah, I'll be out there with Cammy in September.
Yeah.
Well, anybody listening will think we're talking about American football, but it's not. It's just because you two guys had the luxury of going there last week. So we will start on the real football, as I'll call it, and you'll have an argument to say it's not, but it is. So we'll start that now, Cammy.
Yeah, indeed we shall. And obviously, we were all away. England came through their piss easy group, 8 wins out of 8. I think they managed to beat Albania 2-0. A really closely contested, hard-fought game. Scotland, we actually were in, I'm going to say it again, we were in the pub on Saturday night watching Scotland lose to Greece 3-2. Certainly what we managed to catch looked at a decent display from Scotland. And then got back. And obviously, Dennis, I'm back up nice and early for work. But Scotland managed to beat Denmark 4-2. 2 absolutely fantastic goals included in the 4. Kieran Tierney, cracking goal. Obviously, Kenny McLean, cracking goal. But the overhead kick for Scott McTominay reminded me so much of Wayne Rooney's goal against Manchester City for United. So yeah, you don't get many of them for England strikers nowadays, Burrows.
Harry Kane.
As I say, you don't get many.
Oh, okay. I see how this is going to go. I see how this is going to go. This is like the weekend all over again. I'm being surrounded by guys. This is it. But now, look. All joking aside, everyone knows me. I'm half Scottish. My nan is Scottish. All banter aside, I'm not. I get the banter, and it'll ramp up closer to the World Cup. I'm more happy for my friends. I'm more happy for, especially like you two, Cammy. I know you really well. Dennis got to know you over the last year. Obviously, all the guys and girls that we were with at the weekend were all Scottish. So I'm more happy for the fans. I was listening to Talk Sport, and there was people ringing up saying, "I've never seen Scotland play in a World Cup," and I'm like, "Well, now you're going to for 3 weeks, and then they'll be home." But you get to see them for 3 weeks in the summer next year. But look, it's tremendous. It's really good. Obviously, we'll get into it later. It's a talking point about how many teams are in the World Cup. I mean, there's some. If Scotland get the group that they could potentially get, this could be your best ever chance to get to the knockouts ever.
Yeah.
Looking at some of the teams in this World Cup, Scotland are by far not the worst team. They're by far not the best team. But when you look at the actual rankings, if the draw is favourable to you, you might see your country playing a knockout World Cup game. And then you never know. I mean, Wales got to a semi-final not so long ago. Was it the Euros? Wales got to the semi-final of. So, look, never say never. It's just tremendous. I'm more happy for you two, the guys and girls that we met at the weekend, some of my family members up there in Scotland. I'm more happy to see. I'm not going to be one of them English guys for now that gives you loads of shit about keep the plane running and all this malarkey. That's going to come, I promise you. But for Scotland, it's tremendous. And I watched the game and I couldn't help myself. But and I will go on record and saying this: your national anthem has got to be one of the best in the world for passion, for singing. Yep. And my nan I always remember, God rest her soul, singing that loud and proud. So there will always be a tiny bit of me that doesn't mind Scotland qualifying for anything. But I hope you're in our group and I hope we can smash you 5-0.
Yeah, listen, I will take getting there. I mean, it's obviously in the USA. I mean, talk about national anthems. I had just shivers running up and down my neck on Sunday afternoon again. Listening to the Spangled Banner, the way it was performed. But again, we'll forget about that just now. But yeah, you're right. The national anthem that we have is just second to none in terms of what it can do. And it did, whatever it was, inspired Scotland to play 2 decent games of football. As I say, I think the Greece game, for what we saw, looked decent. And certainly the Denmark game, to have Denmark come back twice and then go on and clinch it in the last few minutes. Steve Clarke's done something this qualifying tournament. He's had a lot of criticism, Dennis, a lot of it on this show, but he's had a lot of criticism. But I think Steve Clarke has in this qualification changed something. He's gone slightly more attacking. I think he's got to, because he's not got a bloody player that can defend. But I mean, he's definitely gone slightly more attacking, Dennis, and they've been more attractive to watch through this qualification.
Yeah, you know, first of all, the result was absolutely amazing, right?
Yep.
And we needed Belarus to help us out a little hole. But when you've seen the Belarus result coming through and watching it, there was an edge there that it might have been easier. But at the end of the day, they gave us a leg up. And I also think it restored a wee bit of faith on the bad result we had against Greece. Because take it or leave it, it was a bad result. No matter what way you tart it up, we'd already beaten them at home. And I think they were more up for the game than we were. And that's hard to say when it's World Cup qualifier. But it will persist. And we'll come on to the good bits in a minute. But it will persist with Adams to the point they had opportunities there with players that were in form up front to put them on maybe after an hour. He left it with 10 minutes to go before he had a throw of the dice at it. He actually put on a defender on the right back, which was unbelievable when you're chasing the game. I can't understand the man's thinking at that point. And then he changes it up front. And to me, that was far too late, because Adams had already missed 4 decent chances in that match. We could have won that game. And again, that would have made life easier for us. But having said that and moving on, when you get into the Danish game, the crowd was, as you've mentioned, with having Flower of Scotland being sung right away. They come out the traps. And what can you say about McTominay's goal? World class, absolutely world class. And rightly so, it was giving great press throughout Sky, BBC, and all the channels, because it was stunning. And the only thing I would say that took away from 2 other magnificent goals with Kearney and McLean was McTominay's goal that overshadowed theirs, which the other 2 we were taking at any given time in any international match. So you could not believe or write the script in how that game actually finished up, and also the jubilation of every Scottish supporter. And it really makes everybody think, hey, wait a minute, how good does everyone feel? Even a neutral, how did they feel? I mean, I look back at this because I'm at an age where I had a worry about it big time because of the age. I look back when we got announced that we had a COVID vaccine. I was the same as I was the other night. Now, it might sound stupid, but people were getting wiped out big time with COVID. You just need to look where it kicked in Italy. And that was an age group that was attacking people like me. And after they got that vaccine, I felt the same as I did watching a football match, which is incredible to compare it. But that's how good that was in my mind. And I could see the supporters and the players, the staff, and what it meant. And it did mean a lot to everybody. And I can go back as far as 1974 when Scotland played in Germany. And I actually finished work early and went to the airport to watch them coming back. And that shows you how old I am, Andy. But again, I can go back to the Billy Brenma days and stuff. And it was magnificent away back then. And it's still the same. The passion's still there for Scottish football to do well. Unfortunately, it's not been great. And going back to the match and just giving the praise to Steve Clarke, he did change the team. He did freshen up and it worked. Unfortunately, we still lack an extra forward and a decent centre half. And that's the difficult part. Has he got anything else that he can play? I don't know if he has. And that's what he's going to have to realise. He must search that out if we want to progress. There's no point in doing what we've done in the Euros, get there and we flop, because it's a long way to go for not turning up. So brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I did see something in a snippet I read. Sir Steve Clarke, I don't think we're there yet by any manner of means, because if he had lost the game, it would have turned on him big time if we hadn't got to the World Cup. And there's every chance in the space of 5-10 minutes, he would have been out of job.
Yeah.
So there's highs and lows, as we know, in football and all sorts of sport. But Scotland's on a real high and absolutely over the moon. Even people from England I've spoke to, and colleagues a day, even customers, people like that, everybody talks about it. Sometimes you never mention football matches, but today it was mentioned, and I'm thinking, yeah, we'll put ourselves on the map a little bit. So I'm looking forward to it, and I probably will try and go, depending on where the location is. I'm not going to Seattle or Vancouver or somewhere like that, but if it's on the eastern coast, I might try and dip my toe in the water and see if I can venture over there.
Yeah, well, I think it's New York. I think it's one of the venues. Obviously, nothing in DC.
Boston, yeah.
But Boston, stuff like that. I'm not sure if Philly's a venue or not, but obviously there are a lot of great venues. There is a lot of stuff on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Then as Andy's saying, obviously, there about the hopes he gets Scotland in the group, and I'll be honest, a battle with the old enemy in the States, I think would be decent, because I think get that first game. We know England at times can be slow starters. They've started poorly against other home nations, Andy, in tournaments, be it World Cup or be it the Euros. So what potentially is are the teams that Scotland could face or England could face? You mentioned obviously you had the pots up earlier on.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, when you look at pot 1, Scotland's in pot 3. And you're going to have one of them as your major team that you've really got. And then you're looking in pot 2 that maybe one of the weaker ones you're going to get. And that gives you a chance to be in the top 2. I've never seen it as good looking in a pot 1 because right away, USA, Mexico and Canada, I'll take any of the 3 of them. Now, you don't normally have the option of having 3 that you would say, you'd normally say it's France, Italy, Brazil. That's it. And the rest are all world beaters, right? But you've got 3 teams there because they're hosting it are of a lesser standard. So there's every chance if Scotland get USA, Mexico or Canada from pot 1, I'd be over the moon with that because I think we've a chance of beating them. Then you get into pot 2 and it's a bit more difficult and just looking at without going too far into pot 1 because all the ones that we know, Spain, Argentina, France, England, Portugal, Brazil, Holland, Belgium, Germany, that's your lot. And then in pot 2 is Croatia, Morocco, Colombia, Uruguay, Switzerland, Japan, Senegal, Iran, South Korea, Ecuador, Austria, and Australia. Now, if I look at that, Croatia, it's almost a certainty we'll land with them. We never seem to get away from them. But the rest of them are much of a muchness. And I think, well, okay, there's a wee shout there. And then we're not worrying too much about our own pot because it's ourselves. But then you look at pot 4, Jordan, Cape Verde, Ghana, Karachi, or whatever they're called, they're the smallest nation in the World Cup. Haiti, and New Zealand. And then you've got the playoffs, which includes the likes of Denmark and stuff like that we've got. There's 4 of them, and there's another 2. So I think it's really healthy. And it's the first time I've looked at pots and actually said to myself, hey, wait a minute, we could get the rub of the green here. And I know Andy's saying you like England. I just hope we don't get England. Because it's not good. It's a recipe for disaster. Because right away, I don't think we've got the same quality as England. I think England has got so much quality in their team. This is a great opportunity for them to win this World Cup. Absolutely. But I don't know if they've got the right manager to do it. But I don't want England. I really would like to see USA, Mexico or Canada. And even the rest of them. It's going to be a hard shift.
Yeah. Dennis is saying there, Andy, obviously the Thomas Tuchel is probably the only thing you have going against you. And I don't think I would disagree with that. I've not been impressed with how England have performed in the qualifying campaign in terms of the style of football. Okay, you've got 8 wins out of 8, and as I say, that's me being perfectly serious. I just think Tuchel is probably your biggest negative. You have the players to win a World Cup, absolutely no doubt. But I think Tuchel is possibly what could hold you back from getting to the World Cup final or even going on and win it.
The only way you can look at it, really, from an English point of view, is we've tried everything else. I mean, I wasn't Gareth Southgate's biggest fan, but got us to 2 Euro finals, got us to a semi-final of a World Cup that we blew and we bottled it and we should have won. And my only thing for Tuchel is if he's put in the same positions as Gareth Southgate, you're beating Croatia in a World Cup semi-final, you're beating Italy in a Euro final. I don't think he'll sit back and be as defensive as Gareth Southgate was. I don't think he'll pick people on name. He's proven that already with Jude Bellingham, Trent Alexander. If you're in form, You're in the England team. So I agree with you on one hand, but on the other hand, I'm kind of like, well, we've done everything else and we've tried it this way before. And yes, look, England we have a great team. We're so close to getting over the line, but at the end of the day, no one remembers the team that comes second. I give Arsenal fans so much stick for, well, okay, it's great. You still come second though.
Yeah.
England's great. Look, it's great. I've grown up with us losing on penalties and, not making USA 94 and, not getting out of groups and things like that. So to see my country playing 2 European finals and a World Cup semi-final, we've been spoiled the last 3 tournaments.
Yeah.
Now, can Tuchel get us over the line? It's, like Jenny said, we do have a great chance, but I think there's going to be a lot of noses put out of joint with what Tuchel does. I'm not convinced that Bellingham even goes to the World Cup. Now, for me, he's one of our best players, but Tuchel's he's on attitude on the pitch, off the pitch. He's proven that in the last qualifiers. Now, everyone bangs on about the qualifiers. We don't pick who we play. We can only play what's put in front of us. And when you look at Gareth Southgate was the same. We had an pretty easy run to the last Euro finals. We had a very easy run to the Euros before that. The World Cup, we had literally fell in our lap and we still couldn't get it done. Our luck's going to run out eventually. This World Cup, we're going to come up against some very, very good teams. Will we get out of the group? We should do, being that we could play some absolute dog. Some of the teams that have qualified for this, I don't even know where they are in the world. So, and like I said to you before we started recording, I think this is Scotland's best chance. I mean, it'd be great. And again, I'd be more than happy for you guys to get out of the group, just for you guys, as my friends. And I'm like, you know what? Like, it hits home there when Dennis is talking about, well, it hasn't felt like that since the COVID vaccine, etc. So when I see it, and our press has been flooded down here with all it's been in Scotland, all it's been. Like I said, I chatted to the guys that we were with on Saturday night, and you can see the passion.
Yeah,
purely for the fans. I'd love to see Scotland get out of the group, purely for the fans, and then get us absolutely smash you and destroy all hopes that you've ever had of going on further in the World Cup. That would mean more to me, because you've got out your group. They can turn the engine off on the plane for a little bit, and then we go and dick you 4-0. That would be perfect for me, because then I can text Cammy non-stop. I can text all my Scottish friends non-stop for like hours and hours. But as far as England go, yeah, I think Tuchel could be one and done with the World Cup. I think Eddie Howe's going to be the next England manager. If he doesn't win the World Cup, he's gone. Simple as that. He's been brought in to win the World Cup. Jose Mourinho was brought into Tottenham to win a trophy. We sacked him the day before the Cup final. Conte was brought into Tottenham because he was, Tuchel has been brought into England for exactly the same reason as all the managers I've just mentioned. It's win or bust for us. We have to win the World Cup. This is a lot harder than winning the Euros, and we couldn't get that done. So,
Andy, when you look at the teams, we're not going to have a slaughter at them, but Albania, Serbia, Latvia, and Andorra. Yeah. The results should have been a lot better.
Yeah, we should have won 8-0 every game, Dennis.
I'm looking at the actual 4, and you've played these, and this is England we're talking about, 22 goals for. I would be expecting that to be doubled.
None against.
To be doubled.
To go for a whole qualifying campaign and not concede is incredible.
Yeah. No, that's right. There's no goals. But then again, you don't expect to lose goals at that
you're playing the dog and duck
level of team. Yeah. Now, the only thing I'll say maybe in England's defence is, see, sometimes when you're not tested, you don't get into second gear. And I think in maybe some cases, the players were never tested. Now, I still think they've got it in their tank. I'm not somebody that's going to sit there and not watch England because Scotland's out of it. I will watch England because I like football and I like the talent that England's got. But at the same time, there is that loyalty to Scotland. And I'm hoping we get out of the group and get you so we can give you a doing, because we'll be right up for it.
If you beat us in the knockout stages, I would move to one of these little countries that we've never heard of, just so you can find me.
Hey, listen, if that happens, you're moving. You're seeing if Jesse's got a spare room. Let's be fair.
I'm gone. I'm on the first flight out of here. My phone's off. I'm changing my number. All my social media's getting deleted. I'm gone. You're not going to know I existed. You'll be like, remember Andy Burrows? Yeah, he left. But I ain't heard from him for about 2 years.
Yeah, you've been the same flight as Tuchel. But anyway, we'll just need to wait and see. I think it's early December. I can't remember. It's the 5th or 8th or something like that.
The draw,
the draw is made then. And well, I'm really looking forward to that. I know there's a lot to look forward to. There was so much I was thinking, please don't be and I said last week, as the three of us did on the programme, we would qualify. Maybe knowing the way we did and the results, but we got there, and that was what we were saying, we'll get there, and we did. If we had a playoff, I don't know really how much enthusiasm would have been for the team then, and that would have been disappointing. We've done it right by winning it, the best ever. And, I can't stop thinking about it really in a lot of ways, how good it is for Scotland to be going to America.
Do you know what Scotland have done as well and they've proved it. Now you've just got to take this into tournament football.
Yeah.
On a one-game scenario, Scotland can compete with anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've now got to do that for 3 games. And if you can, and if the draw is favourable to you, it's going to be kind of a different situation for Scotland because you're going to be expected to win. If you get USA or some of these countries I've never heard of, then all of a sudden, it's only going to be a natural reaction. The fans can be like, well, we should beat these lot. We should beat these lot. So all of a sudden, you're the favourites to get out of a group stage of a World Cup when you've never got out of a group stage of a World Cup. So how do Scotland handle that? Because you're going to go, you potentially could go into a World Cup as favourites to get out your group. Or admittedly, you could get in a group of death, and then you're like, well, let's just have a party and see. But on any given day, I watch a little bit of Scottish football, and I when Scotland do play, I try and watch them purely because of my nan, and she'd be proud of me. You proved against Denmark, and you potentially could have been 4-1 down at half time, by the way.
Yeah.
But you proved on one game only you can compete and you can stick in it. You've now just got to try and do that in tournament football. And just literally, it sounds as cliche as fuck. Take it one game at a time. Don't settle for being there now. Try and get a group game. Because you might, even if you get through with the group stages, you could still potentially get a minor team who, if you win your group and a minor team finish second, that's you in the quarterfinal, the last 16 of the World Cup.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at without doom and gloom. But the doom and gloom part is something we're not sitting discussing, which is the playoff path in Group D. The semi-finals for that is Denmark versus North Macedonia, and the other one is Czech Republic and Republic of Ireland. Now that means if Scotland had beaten Macedonia, they would have got Czech Republic or the Republic of Ireland. I wouldn't have fancied that. So it's a blessing.
Northern Ireland got Italy, haven't they?
Yeah.
When was I was asked this question today. Has there been a World Cup when all the home nations have been there?
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
I've no idea.
Yeah, that's crazy.
50.
I think potentially we're all there.
Yeah. Potentially have the home nations at the World Cup. It'd be.
Yeah, I mean, it would be.
It'd be great for us because then we could beat Scotland and Wales. It'd be even better.
Yeah. The Welsh are in a shout, as you say, Northern Ireland. So I mean, we've got again from the American football, we've got so many friends for both countries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's American football on at that time, Cammy. Is there any American? No. Well, that would have been something I might have dipped my toe in the water with and had a look.
Yeah,
June to July.
I think you'll get pre-season starting
August. Yeah, if you might be able to start for pre-season.
Yeah, you maybe get a second week of August or something like that, but that'd be you, for the pre-season, which nobody goes to, because and funnily enough, nobody plays in either. So no, that wouldn't be, but no, it's a great achievement. It's fantastic that we're there, and also I think we're actually going into it with a sense of optimism as well. So that's great too for all the home nations. Obviously Scotland, England there already. 3 others in with a shout of getting there. So no, fantastic. But moving away from the internationals, Andy, you mentioned obviously you're still giving Arsenal fans stick about continually finishing second. North London derby this weekend. Obviously Arsenal 4:30 Sunday afternoon. What a game that is to be coming back after your international break.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad it's away because our home form is terrible. So if we've got a chance of doing anything, it's away from home. Look, it's going to be a hard game. It's going to be a very, very hard game, as much as it pains me to say. But the North London derbies are weird. It could be 4-4, it could be 3-3, it could be 0-0. Anything can happen in the North London. You guys know with Rangers and Celtic over the years, it's always blood and thunder, and the fans are going to be, there in full voice. If you offered me a point now, I would take it. but obviously I'm gonna back Tottenham. I reckon we'll be the first team to do them at home. I reckon we'll beat them 2-1.
Well, you could put a dent in Arsenal's lead because Tottenham's sitting there on 18 points. Arsenal is in 26. Yeah, we result there. You're sneaking up and
Do you
talking.
imagine Arsenal win the league and Scotland beat England in the World Cup? I don't know where I'd go.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'd go, boys.
Oh dear. No, listen. Chances of that happening. Actually, there is a shout, but no. I mean,
it's going to be a hard game, Cammy. It's going to be a difficult game, but what a Super Sunday we're in for. Our away form is so much better than our home form. At home, we've been awful. If you look at the points we've given away at home, we would be second in the Premier League. You know, It's crazy. This could be a game. If we had won them home games, whoever won on Sunday could have been top. You know, it's potentially one of them. So I'm looking forward to it.
Do you think you're playing better than you were last year, though?
Yes, we're more organised.
Right. Well, it's obviously proven with the points that you've got. But is it better to watch? Because I've not watched a lot of Tottenham's matches.
I've been to a fair few games. I would say we're more organised, we're more structured. You know, this isn't excuse me. This isn't me digging at Big Ange. But yeah, I think we're a lot more organised. From what the games I've been to, I've been lucky. I've been to when we won, me and my daughter. But yeah, I'm enjoying where we are. I mean, we were 17th last year, so if we finish, I think we'll finish 6th or 7th this year. If we somehow sneak into a Champions League spot, I'll be happy. I mean, we've got Arsenal on Sunday and then PSG away Wednesday.
Yeah.
So
then the following week you've got. I would think you've got a bit of respite with that next tie. You've got a London fixture again against Fulham. So if you to get 6 points from those two games, that would be incredible. But that's what you've got to do, though, if you want to try and win the league. Is you need to turn Arsenal over and you need to take care of Fulham. I mean, Fulham, where are they sitting? They're not exactly flying high, are they?
They're a bit hit and miss. They win 2, lose 2. Fulham they're an odd team. They're just I always call them a there team. They're just there. They don't do much, but they're just there.
Yeah. You know. Yeah, well, they're sitting 15th, and they're in the zone that could basically get a drop into the bottom 30 if that's with exceptional rules.
Again, that would be the most Tottenham thing ever. We'll beat Arsenal and lose 3-1 to Fulham. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Well, it can happen, you know. Yeah. But no, that'll be interesting to see how your 3 games go.
Yes, mate. It's going to be a great weekend.
Would you rather progress in Europe, or have you seen it and done it now that basically says, nah, we're okay. We'll just accept what we've got.
The Champions League's a bonus. Let's be honest, we snuck in the back door to the Champions League.
Yeah.
That's a bonus this year. If we can somehow get into the knockout stages and have a knockout game and have a good night out somewhere in Europe, great. But for me, the league, I mean, if we can somehow sneak into the top 5, we'll probably get the Champions League again. So if we can somehow do that, I want us to win the FA Cup this year. I'd love us to win the FA Cup. Tottenham have not competed in the FA Cup for many years now. I'd love us to win the FA Cup and finish 5th in the league. That would do me. Anything in the Champions League is a bonus.
Well, you're not too far away from getting that top 8 in Champions League, sitting there with 8 points, and Liverpool's 9, and they're in 8th. So, you get 3 points there, you're up into 5th spot. Yeah. And you'd actually be into 8. You'd be into 4th spot if the others lose their matches. So, you're still in with a shout with everything. It's looking good now. But it's like England, everything can come crashing down on you before you know where you are. So, you just have to keep your fingers crossed and get a result against Arsenal, and that means that you're making some inroads with it.
Yeah. Let's hope so, mate. Let's hope so.
I mean, just looking at the Premier League, obviously you've got Arsenal 4 points clear at the top of Man City, and then from 3rd down to 10th, there is 3 points separating them. You get Chelsea on 20, Sunderland, who are the Nottingham Forest of this season, doing absolutely fantastic, sitting in 4th spots. They've obviously got some cracking results, beating Chelsea, getting a draw with Arsenal. Then it's yourselves, Andy, starting basically a run of 5 teams with 18 points. Spurs, Villa, Man United, Liverpool and Bournemouth, and then Palace, who for me are one of the best sides to watch down south in the Premier League. So you get them sitting in 10th spot with 17. You know, so Dennis, you're talking about what you can do in the Champions League with a victory. When you look at what you can do in that Premier League, you know, with one victory can catapult you up 5 or 6 spots, you know. And I think as Manchester United found out with drawing against Forest and then obviously drop a couple of points yourselves, Andy, you know, that any side at all can just on their day jump 3 spots, drop 4 spots, you know, and it's so tight, top half.
Yeah. That's what's annoying. If we'd won them home games, like I said, Sunday could have been winner gets top spot in the Premier League, but we've given away some stupid points at home. Really, you know, we lost to Bournemouth, lost to who else did we reach? It was the last home game we lost.
Chelsea beat you.
Yeah, Chelsea, but you know, I mean, we always lose to bloody Chelsea. The home games that we've given away, silly points. The year we should have won the league, we finished 3rd in the 2-horse race. You know, we lost at home to, I think we lost at home to Bolton that year, and we lost at home to crap like, you know, some games that we lost. That's the thing with Tottenham. You need to find that consistency here. If you want to compete at the highest level, you've got to be consistent.
Yeah.
You can't
Would
win.
you
Would
you write off Liverpool? I mean, you look at Liverpool there.
Yes.
last half dozen games, they've lost 5.
Yeah, they're out of it. I think it's between Arsenal and Man City.
Mm-hmm. What's happened to Liverpool? What do you think's gone wrong there?
That's a bloody good question, mate. Have they? You brought in Isak. He didn't play for the first couple of weeks, injured. You know, God rest his soul. Diego Jota was a humongous loss to the team, and the thing is, you don't know how that's affected all the teams. Something like that happens, you can put on the front and we're united, and you know we want to do everything. That must have had such an effect on that squad. And I'm not making excuses for them, but when something like that happens, you just think, shit, you know, that's something major to happen. And it sounds horrible to say, he's a big player to lose for them. So Mo Salah, I think they should have taken the money. He's way off it this year.
I
think hindsight's a beautiful thing, but have they kept him a season too long? Potentially, when you look at it now, I took him out my fantasy team weeks ago and put Haaland back in, and you know, but I don't know. Something's
the one thing about
right there.
The one thing about centre forwards, Randy. Yeah. The one thing about centre forwards, they do have lean spells and they do dip, and Mo Salah is an example of that. I think he's got enough in his tank. When the team start to pick up, he will be back in song again, because he's got so much talent and he knows where the goals is and he's composed. I think he's just having a lean spell. And as most of the best strikers in the world have lean spells. And it's just a matter of how long it takes to come out of it.
But guys like him can't afford to have a lean spell, Dennis. That's a player that Liverpool should be able to rely on.
I know that. Yeah.
He should be a player pulling the side up with the bootstraps and saying, right, come on, guys. You know, I'm the talisman here. Let's follow me, kind of thing, rather than hiding and whatever else. And I honestly think the signing of Isak has upset team chemistry potentially as well. I know what you're saying about Jota, Andy, you know, but I just think, for me, somebody who's prepared to do at their new club, obviously what they've done at Newcastle, I'd be questioning making a signing like that. I'll be honest with you. Somebody who's on strike and whatever else, you know, because. Real Madrid come in 2 or 3 seasons for him if he does manage to find a bit of form. Is he going to down tools again at Liverpool and turn around and say, nah, to hell with this, I'm off, you know? So I don't think that's a player you want on your side.
No, unfortunately, though, the board of directors at a lot of clubs would bite their arm off and say, no, we need him, when they don't understand the ripple effects that goes through dressing rooms, supporters and everything else. Because they think, oh, look at us, we've spent all that money on this guy because he's good. I might be good, but you can buy bad apples no matter what price you pay for them. And that looks to me like you've just highlighted it, Cammy. I wouldn't have went near him. The simple reason being that that's not what you want at your club, because they've no loyalty. It's just total greed. And there's enough spoilt footballers out there without bringing another one to the football club. And that would be my view. But for some unknown reason, the director's seen fit to bring the guy in. And maybe it is coming back to haunt them now.
Yeah, indeed, it could well be, you know. But, a couple of big games, Andy, coming up for your side, obviously, as you say, North London Derby, and then the Champions League against Paris Saint-Germain, you know, who, as a side who obviously have shown the last few games, they are beatable. You know, they obviously showed in that Mickey Mouse tournament. You know, Chelsea's already done them, but whatever else. But they were definitely the highlight of last season's Champions League, going on and winning it, looking good in the process of doing so. You know, so that's another couple of difficult games that you guys have coming up. You know, and it does put the teeth back in. It does show you, you know, that the qualities that Spurs are coming up against by getting in through that back door, as you say, into the Champions League.
Yeah, definitely, mate. So it's a hard couple of weeks coming up for Tottenham, but I'll take it. It's definitely better than last season.
Yeah, that's the thing. Definitely is.
Yes.
So,
Man United, are we seeing a change in name?
Yes.
I mean, you had Tom House on a couple of weeks ago. I wasn't here, but I know, having spoken to Tom, he actually feels, they're upwards and onwards with Man United. And again, I haven't watched a great deal of them. They do, from what I've seen, yes, show signs of improvement, but is it enough? You know, they're sitting certainly healthier than like Tottenham were last year at this time, and they're sitting in the same points as you, and that's going to be a shift to see who's going to take over the top. My colleagues, one is Man United, one's Tottenham, so they have a bit of banter going on with this to see, because last year they were down in 17th together. Now they're sitting up near the top, and it'll be interesting to see if Man United can maybe get that a little bit extra at them, because Tottenham do look as if they'll get an edge with the results and the way they've been playing.
Yeah, I think the mindset for Man United fans has finally changed. They've realised that they're Man United, but they're not the Man United, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think that's finally hit home. They've given a manager time, which you have to in football. You know, if you really, you can't keep 9 games, sack him, 10 games, sack. You can't keep it. And I get the whole Nottingham Forest thing, Big Ange, that chairman, and that's what happens. But when you're Manchester United, you have to have that sustainability, and you have to have. You can't just keep changing managers, because this is probably one of the biggest clubs in the world. We were just in one of the biggest cities in the world, in Madrid. You're putting Man United in the same bracket. They're up there. They are one of the biggest clubs in world football. So yeah, I think they'll be up there. I genuinely think United could sneak into the 5th.
Yeah.
I've been impressed with them. I've been impressed with Man United this season.
Yeah. And the truthful answer, Andy, is, will Arsenal win the league, even though we're only in November? I mean, I've seen signs of them improving, I must admit.
I think they'll bottle it again, and Man City will win.
Right.
I genuinely think that'll happen. I think it will get too much. The City will know how to get across the line. They don't get me wrong. Look, they've got a great chance. If they blow it now, I mean, we're sitting here in nearly December. This will be we always talk in football: November, December, January. If us three are sitting down at the end of January and they're still top by 9 points, wow, be the best chance they've had since they won it, since they win Invincible.
Yeah, you can only throw it away.
But you do not want Man City. Haaland seems to be back to his best. You've got Man City.
See, that's somebody else when we're talking about the strikers going off for him. Haaland had a lean spell because the expectations of the guy, like Mo Salah, are the same. Your expectations are massive when they play at the top flight and they're scoring goals for fun. He had a lean spell, but as you say, he's coming back now. And you never know where that guy's going to end up this year.
No. I genuinely think Man City will come through, but that's not me being a biased Tottenham fan. I mean, Arsenal generally could win the league this year. It's just whether they can do it. Like we said earlier at the start of the show, England, we could win a World Cup, we could win a Euros. For whatever bloody reason, we can't get over the line though. I think that could be Arsenal again this season. And don't get me wrong, I'd love nothing more than to see them lose it on the last day of the season in the last minute. It would make my life if that happened. But I genuinely think City could have it wrapped up with 2 games to go.
Yeah. I think the top 5 this season is going to be the top 3 currently there. Obviously, I fully expect Sunderland to drop out of that top 4. And I think it's any 2 from Liverpool, Spurs and Man United.
Yeah,
for the other 2 spots. You know, I think Manchester United, Andy, when they went down to the lane and you guys went 2-1 up with a few minutes to go. Last season's Manchester United would have lost that 3-1. Spurs would have went on and that, you know. So I think Manchester United showed they've got something about them. The fact that they fought to the end for Amarin, you know what I mean? So I just think Man United are a different breed this season, you know, and I think, like I said, the signings have been bueno, you know, and Cunha up front, you know, I think these two signings have been massive for them, you know. Obviously, the goalkeeping situation seems to have solidified itself as well. So, yeah, I just think they've got something about them this season. Frank's obviously been in the Premier League a wee bit longer than what Amarin has, so that could well be the deciding factor as to which of the two of you finish above each other. But I just think that's going to be your top five. It's per any three from Man United, Spurs, and Liverpool to see who's going to finish fourth and fifth, you know, and get Champions League spots, you know. So, but still a long way to go, as we say. And this weekend we'll bring it back up north of the border. Getting into Saturday's fixtures in the Premier League, we'll get into United against Falkirk, Hibs against Dundee, Killie against Motherwell, Rangers against Livingston, and in an 8 o'clock kick-off on a Saturday night, we've got St Mirren against Celtic. Now, I'd imagine that 8 o'clock kick-off then is purely and simply the fact that St Mirren are hosting Celtic, obviously 15 minutes for Ibrox, but I could be wrong in that, you know. But as the television game, 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, what the freaking hell is that all about?
Well, there is maybe some logic in what you've said, but I can't think that they've got the, what would you say, the power to think that one out and say, well, we'll make that 8 o'clock. It'll be for, as you say, television and nothing else. And what kind of television have we seen it on? Premier Sports? I don't know. I don't look at it. The bottom line is these fixture times are just a joke. On a Saturday night, when guys like to go to the pub or they go out with their wives or girlfriends or whatever, you've just disrupted that. Now, that will cause arguments. And I know, what are you going on about? But that will cause arguments within households. You know, why do they do these things? I always question it. It almost makes me go on a rant for people that organise things that just sit there in front of a computer, like me being a dafty here just now, doing the same. But the bottom line is these geeks are pulling stuff out of the hat that's no user-friendly, and that fixture's no user-friendly. So some people like it.
Bournemouth had to go to Liverpool on a Friday night. That's how crazy, you know, Bournemouth had to go to Liverpool on a Friday night. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. There's no logic in a lot of people's minds. And wait a minute, we better think this one out. All right, okay. Well, I'm sorry, but what was wrong with maybe playing the game at 12 o'clock? You know, so anyway, that is what it is. Fixtures and that one, it'll be interesting to see what Rangers do against Livingston because they're battling for their life. And Rangers do look a bit better than Martin being there. Definitely a bit better. I think the manager's better equipped. But as you maybe have noticed this week, the ex-manager is now in Norwich.
I didn't pick that one up. Obviously, we've been completely otherwise occupied, you know, so I hadn't realised he was away to Norwich. But hey, listen, good luck to him. Good luck to Norwich. You just wonder, Thelwell, I'm assuming, said some kind of input into that, being the fact that he's obviously been there previously, you know, so he's maybe...
Well, as long as it's no Martin, because I think that would have been even worse.
But, just saying the old manager, right, okay, fair enough.
Aye, you know, he wasn't long at the job at Rangers, and I think there's an element there where why does he not realise such a bad job he done at Rangers? You get the brass neck to go and inflict the same disasters you had at Rangers. You know, he's been successful in France and Belgium and that, but he's not good enough to be managing in this country. And when I mean that, England or Britain or whatever you want to call it. And I just think that we had enough of him.
Good old
you guys.
Team, yeah.
Andy, you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Aye, that's cool. As I say, I think I disappeared, and then Dennis seems to have disappeared as well there. So goodness knows, that's probably freaking StreamYard at it again, you know.
Yeah, they're not the best, are they? They're not the best, man.
So apologies to anybody watching this, but as I say, that just StreamYard seemed to let us out, and obviously the format that StreamYard is showing as well just now is just crazy. So Apologies for all that kind of stuff as well. So, listen, what you doing? Are you still coming up? I know, obviously, February.
Yeah. So this is random. So we're up in February for our Super Bowl party, and on the Saturday we are off to watch Spartans play Sterling.
Right. Okay.
Me and Scott, because obviously there's no actual games that weekend.
Yeah.
It must be something to do. There's no Celtic, no Rangers, none of that are playing. You're playing on the Wednesday. So the only football on that weekend, we're off to watch Spartans play Sterling. Up the weekend for the Super Bowl. Our Super Bowl party is happening up in Edinburgh. So the 7th and 8th, I will be up in Bonnie, Scotland, of February with some good friends and having a good time.
And what are you doing the following week for the birthday? Are you still coming up, or are you just going to make?
I think we might combine. Yeah, I think we might combine it and just make the most of the Super Bowl party and stuff. But obviously, I'll get up to see you guys. I need to obviously meet you, and I might bring the family up and we can hang out and stuff like that. But I do want to go and see a Rangers or Celtic.
Hello.
To be fair, there
we're back. We were just discussing more social aspects there. Just Andy's coming up now. We were talking about him coming up at some point in time. So
I'm up the weekend.
Well, I just rattled my gums there. We're getting cut off for the last 5 minutes about the fixtures in the Premier League. So you probably no missed anything. It was just the strengths and weaknesses.
I was telling Cammy, Dennis, I'm off to see.
And then I was waiting you replying, and I looked and I went, "Oh, I'm off." So
there you go.
And Jamie, I did notice Clement. I just didn't want to mention the guy's name. I didn't think it deserved mentioning. I'm going to Norwich. Jamie Glasgow just listened and said, "It's Clement. I'll help you out, mate." But I wasn't giving him the credit. But anyway, cheers for that, Jamie. So, are we going into a championship, Cammy, to see just what's in there?
We were talking about Andy's coming up in February, so he's going to go to Spartans against Stirling because there's no football on that weekend.
Right,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
No idea what I let myself in for that weekend. Spartans versus Sterling. Do I have to bring some biscuits for the one man and his dog? I don't know. They get good.
Listen, you maybe get. Spartans are sitting top of that league. You might be coming up to see a promotion party. You know what I mean? You never know.
Okay.
For a Super Bowl party, obviously, as you know, I'm not here, so I'm not able to catch up with you that weekend, unfortunately. But depending on what time you get up on the Friday or whatever, but we'll see how that goes.
Cool, man.
But we'll get something. Maybe get something or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right, sorry, Dennis.
We'll get the championship. Yeah, there's a game on tonight, which is Queen's Park playing Ross County. That'll be a good one. Then tomorrow, Airdrie United, Arbroath Race Rovers, Dunfermline playing Morton, Partick Thistle, St Johnstone. That's a biggie. I would say that's the biggest one over the weekend. And Partick Thistle have got Dunfermline. Another game on the Tuesday. And you look at that and you say to yourself, well, if Partick Thistle's going to make a dent in this, they need to do it now. St Johnstone, they were getting very close to them. And St Johnstone, who have played an extra game on 34 points, Partick Thistle 28. Now, 6 points onto that, which they need to win, would certainly take them where they need to be at the top of the league equal with St Johnstone. And St Johnstone then would suffer. Both games are at Firhill. So Partick Thistle have got the space of tonight until Tuesday night, the opportunity to get 6 points. I don't know if they can get the 6, to be honest, though, Cammy.
Dennis, is the gap in Scotland between the Championship and the Premiership? Is it as big as the Championship down in the UK to the Premier League? What's the difference in class? Would you say?
Yeah, there is a gap, but there's teams come up, Andy, and they're maybe not equipped because they don't have the parachute or the money that you've got in England.
Okay,
and they can fill the gap when they come up into the Premier League. So, it's almost sole survivors here that nobody gets a hand out. And really what they've got to do is you look at Falkirk, as I mentioned earlier, they're sitting in the fourth spot or whatever at this moment in time. And you say to yourself, they're doing that in their own back almost. And that's magnificent. Right. And most teams that come up from the Championship, you're almost saying they're going to be in the bottom 2 or 3 at least. Right. And you look at Livingston again, financially, maybe not as well. You're looking at managers in the Premier League when you come out of the big 2 having to scrape about to get money. making sure they've got good agents, making sure they bring players in and they improve them. We don't get players coming into the Premier League out with the old firm and they actually don't get improved. They need to be improved or you'll go straight back down again. But you're bringing in players there with very little money, and therefore the Championship, I would say that's the difference. If we had better finances, say like Dundee, well, I'm not saying particular teams, but maybe Hibs, Dundee United, Hearts, if you've got that kind of investment and you're coming up from, say, Partick Thistle or St Johnstone may be better because they've just been up, then you've got a better opportunity. But if you actually look at what you've got in the Premier League, I look at Arbroath and I say to myself, if Arbroath come up into the Premier League, you're eaten alive because they don't have the finances that the teams in the Premier League have got at this moment in time, which is a shame because Arbroath are a very, very good team. Ayr United, I think, have got some injection of cash, the same as Dunfermline. Morton, I think, can be equipped to get into it, and whether they can sustain it, again, is questionable. Then you look at the rest. Raith Rovers, Queen's Park, Ross County have already been there, so they could do it. Airdrie as well. Those teams, I think, would have great difficulty coming up unless somebody out there can tell me different, that they can put investment into it to make sure that they can compete. So you've got half your league almost. It would be very difficult. Whereas I think half the English Championship, if they come up with the money and the rewards that are there for them, would be able to survive, because you're looking at the bottom three places as against, we're looking at 10 spots here in the Championship and 12 in the Premier League. It's not a lot to juggle about.
Yeah.
So,
is that a good and bad thing?
Answer.
Is that a good and bad thing at the minute for, like you say, with like how well the Scottish national team have done? The majority of that team are either playing down south or they're playing abroad. And I know you get a few in the Scottish league, but these players are benefiting from playing in the Premier League, from playing wherever they're playing in Europe. So it's kind of good and bad for Scottish football, because you look at the England team and most of them are playing in the Premier League. You look at the Scottish team and most of them are playing in the Premier League. So you want to get to that stage again where your Scottish national team are playing for Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, etc., etc. But because the money isn't there, and it's great for your players, because Scott McTominay, I would class him as a world-class player. Yeah. But he wouldn't have been, no disrespect, he wouldn't have become a world-class player if he was playing in the Scottish Premiership.
Yeah, so, I'm just looking at the starting line and we don't have anybody bar the goalkeeper.
Yeah, and he's 45 years old.
Playing in Scotland. That's just started the game. I thought that was the case, but I wasn't able to guess at it. No, two. You've Hanley and Gordon.
Yeah, they made the point, didn't they, on the TV the other day, but I think they were talking about it, and it's like, it's good and bad for Scottish football, because it's great that your players are playing in arguably the best league in the world, but like you said many times, Dennis, until that Scottish Premier League gets to maybe where it was with the Paul Gascoigne days and the Hendrik Larsson days, you're not going to get a Scott McTominay. He might finish his career in Scotland, and he probably will. So he'll want to finish it, where he's from. But you're never going to get them players in their prime coming to play for Rangers, Celtic, Hearts, etc., because of the lure and the money of the Premier League, the Spanish league, the Italian leagues, But on the flip side of it, you've now got a national side who've made a World Cup because your players are playing in the best leagues in the world. So on a domestic side, not so good. Nationally, Scott McTominay and a few, you're kind of getting a couple of, you've got a world-class player. You've got some very good players. Whereas in years gone by, you've gone, oh God, we're not, So now you've got to that point where, right, we've kind of got the balance with the national team purely because our players are playing elsewhere. How do we now, as a Scottish federation, get that back in our league? And like Dennis has said many times, until they have the investment, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, no. Well, and that's difficult because if you do get investors in, Rangers have gotten investors in from, what you watch on a regular basis, American football background. And they've got a centre forward that they signed for £8 million. And he hadn't scored a goal for 2.5 years. Now, if that's the way you want to do your business, then fine. But if you gave that to St Mirren, say, they could get a team that will compete against Celtic and Rangers, because that 8 million, with the way they do their business, would capture probably the spine of a team, if nothing else, for £8 million. They'd be over the moon, saying at the start of the season, we'll get £8 million. When you look at Tony Bloom, he came in and he supported Hearts by £9 million. Now, he's obviously got tapped into a source as well, but that's £9 million, and they're sitting at the top of the league. So what does that tell you about having money? Because I say you require the money, but you also require the expertise and the know-how to spend that money properly. And I think that's a difficult part that the Old Firm have got. They don't have the right people sourcing the right players at the right price. And it's like any business, if you want to talk it that way. It's the same thing. Same thing. If you go and buy a load of rubbish, you'll get stitched up with somebody that's just want to sell the product. That's every walk of life. So, you know, football's no different. The agents will try and just offload any player if their back pocket is going to be filled. Now, it might seem nasty, but that's the way the world is. And the guys, if that's the way they want to work it, good luck to them. Because if you get somebody that's maybe a bit naive and accepts £8 million for a player that's no scored, how can you sell somebody like that? Seriously, you've got a job anywhere if you can sell a player for £8 million that's no scored for 2.5 years. I think that's incredible business. But you've got to really sit back and look at the guy that's authorised that and be a bit embarrassed. You know, I've just picked him out because that's probably one that everybody knows is not great. But there's other areas and avenues. But the investment is a big thing, Andy. And if it's used properly, I think we can be a lot better. When you look at the conversation we had last week with Graham and Hugh, the thing is, Motherwell and Hearts are doing very, very well. Very, very well when you look at the Premier League. And there's a few other teams as well, just because they were from both of the clubs. And when you sit back and you look at it, you think, yeah, decent. It has improved this year, I think, the Premier League than the previous year. The thing that's been poorer is the standard of Celtic and Rangers. And that's disappointing because you need a good, strong Rangers and Celtic, no matter what way you look at it, whatever season, because that's what people look at when they look at Scottish football. Scottish football gets tarred with a bad brush when you see the two of them playing and the product's rubbish because they think everybody's the same. And it's unfair. Mm-hmm. But no, I think we're in a better place. But going back to it, the financial rewards are not as good as the English Championship or the Premier League, and it never will be. But you know, we just keep hoping that somebody will come in, maybe from the Middle East or somewhere like that, that's got money and really decides, right, I'm going to do what I've done at Man City or something like that, and at least lift it. So you talked about Gascoigne's and all the rest of it. That quality of player would be unbelievable to see that level coming back to Scotland. Yeah, but you never know. You never know.
That's true.
Indeed. Well, listen, I think that's us sort of done football to death tonight. Obviously, apologies for anybody who's had to listen to myself and Andy at the start of the show going on about American football. But listen, it's both of our first loves, I think. I think both of us can admit that just now, you know. So, or maybe not the first love, but it's the one I'm keeping the hood of just now. So that's it. But listen, as always, Burrows, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's great to spend the weekend with you again. And genuinely cannot wait until whenever it is we get together. And as I say, we'll probably do that off here rather than boring everybody rigid anyway. You know what I mean? But
yeah, no problem, mate. I really appreciate you having me on, mate. It was a great weekend, and
it's good to get you back on, Andy.
No, honestly, for you guys purely alone, I was happy that you qualified for the World Cup. But like I've already said, I tell you what, if you get further than us in the World Cup, I'll come on here and wear a Scotland shirt.
There you go. I'll give you that one, Matt.
There you go.
I'll hold you that again. Listen, give Jesse my best tomorrow. Tell him I'm asking for him and a safe travel for him. I'll give him a shout anyway, you know. But
brother, will do, mate. Keep up the great work.
All right, brother. Cheers. Andy, catch up you later on, mate. An absolute pleasure as always. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, Andy.
Cheers, lads. Thanks, boys. Thank you.
Cheers. Dennis, it was a brilliant weekend. It really was. But listen, I'm getting my bed to go to. So thanks very much as always tonight. As we say to everybody, go ahead, like, subscribe. It does help us out a lot, you know what I mean? And you'll get to see when the next episode is going to drop. we'll get this bloody layout sorted because it's freaking murder. But anyway, it's been an absolute joy. Thanks very much for listening. All that remains to be seen is good night. And that's us. Good night.